Can you describe a little bit of like the brand playbook pre-Web3 and then now with Web3 and NFTs, and what is their playbook today if they want to start engaging this new audience around collectibles or NFTs?
So I think the brand playbook in general is create an emotional connection with consumers that makes them value your product irrationally. If you look at consumer packaged goods companies, apparel companies, car companies, the products are fundamentally all very, very similar. It's the branding and the emotional connection that those companies have created that makes me say like, oh, I want to drive a Mercedes versus a BMW because I'm that kind of a person, or I drink Pepsi instead of Coke because that's who I am, when the products are actually super similar. So the idea of brand building fundamentally really, really works. It's why brands do much better than sort of private label companies who just sell the generic product. So I think that has been the playbook since the dawn of time, right? Like since way before Web 2, when there was radio, when there was print ads, all of that has been the playbook. And brands have adopted new forms of technology as they've come around. They used to, maybe do a print ad, then they did a radio ad, then they did a TV ad, then they did a Facebook post, then they did a TikTok. And now maybe they're looking into an NFT as a way to engage consumers. The playbook has shifted in every iteration of consumer behavior, though, because certain brands have been able to remain relevant through centuries. I like to give the example of Stella Artois, which is a partner of ours at Vayner, because people always ask me, like, how do Web 2 brands need to pivot into Web 3? And I laugh because Stella Artois was invented in the 1300s, and they have been finding ways to connect with consumers for centuries. And this Stella Artois was, interestingly enough, one of the first adopters of sort of NFTs. They did a program with Zed Run well over a year ago, which was led by a woman named Lindsay McInerney, who's incredible. I think that what they were able to do was to find a new way to connect with their consumers and do something that drives buzz and attention and brings them into a place of cultural relevance. That cultural relevance aspect continues to matter. Now there's just a new dimension. And in this new dimension, new paradigm, I think the decentralized consumers don't want to give away their consumer data the same way they felt that data was siphoned from the large Web 2 platforms. They might want to have the ability to have the asset, to trade it, to sell it, to hold it. And they, in certain cases, also want to be able to participate more from the brands that they love and the brands that they want to interact with, which is a new way for brands to think about their super engaged communities. But I think it's a good challenge. And in the past, couple of months alone, we've seen some large fashion brands like Lacoste even start to create programs where their community of holders is able to vote on certain products that they can make and other things like that start to give certain elements of power into their communities.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you said a couple things there that I really want to like double click and highlight here now. The first one being, you said brands want to create an emotional connection that makes you value the product irrationally. I think that's a super interesting way of saying it. And you really do see that in the NFT world every single day. I mean, everything's irrational essentially about the NFT world. And I almost wonder how much of that irrational loyalty comes from the price over the last 18 months generally going up versus now we're in a down market. And do you think that that fan loyalty, brand loyalty can still be there even if the price isn't necessarily you buy an NFT and you can sell it for more later?
Yeah, I think this era of hyper commercialization in the NFT world that we've seen over the last 18 months is not going to be the future of NFTs. That's not the way that, you engage with buying a beer or buying a pair of shoes. You don't buy a pair of shoes for $50 thinking you can sell it for $100. You buy them because you want to put shoes on your feet. I think that utility aspect is going to become way more commonplace in NFT programs and projects, and that financial speculation aspect, while it will certainly continue in certain cycles, I don't think that will be as much of the norm as it is now. And I think that that type of speculative behavior has created a small community of sort of the degen crowd who have helped grow the NFT community to what it is to date. But I don't think that's going to be the future because that's not how normal consumers perceive purchasing products.
Yeah. No, totally makes sense. And I definitely hold some similar beliefs to that too. So it's from that investment standpoint, it's more about finding the ones that are going to last the test of time. And I think some of those are more of the generative art pieces myself, but good points. And I also want to just circle back, and you mentioned data ownership and control. I think that's so important too. And we're still figuring out ways on how people interact with decentralized applications. And do you log in with your wallet? Do you log in with a NFT domain? How that data transfer goes. And is I think a big leg up with Web3 is how you can now choose and control who's accessing your data versus just that being blindly taken from you when you're using an application.
You're listening to the Unstoppable Podcast, the go-to place for everyone to learn about the latest innovations in Web3, NFTs, and the decentralized web. Welcome to the metaverse.